Alright, what's up guys? It's been a minute. I've been absolutely slammed this month. We've been out of town every other weekend. We went to Florida, and then this past weekend we were in Dallas. I was playing out there. Had a great long weekend of it. Came back just earlier this week. One of the things I picked up while I was there actually are these beans from Merit Coffee Company. I know a lot of you guys are also into coffee, so I thought I'd share. This one's actually really good. It's the Chilean or Chelen Gold. Sorry, my pronunciation is not the best. And it's actually a Mexican coffee. I don't often go for Mexican coffees, but this is probably the best one that I've had. They're a roaster out of San Antonio. I was in Dallas, and it was a really, really good find. A lot of you guys and some others that follow me over on Instagram at the Riggs Taylor recommended it to me, so thanks for the recommendations. Really glad I got to stop in. Great shop. Highly recommend it if you're in Texas. So the keen-eyed of you may notice that my room setup looks a little bit different. Normally I have my amp and my guitar rack right next to each other. And you may notice that there's a little bit of space between them. And that's because on the 84th day of this year, 2021, I broke my gear fast. I know, I was going to try to make it the whole year. I made it about a quarter of the way through, and I broke it in a big way. So today I'm going to walk you through just a brief overview of my new amp, this 1967 Fender Deluxe Reverb. So the other day, I'm on Facebook Marketplace, just scrolling as I sometimes do, and as soon as I get onto Marketplace, I see this Blackface Deluxe Reverb. I can immediately tell it wasn't a reissue just from some of the aging and things on the grill cloth, and I was really interested. I click on it, and it was listed for a really, really good price. Now, this guy was also selling a reissue, so he clearly knew the difference between the reissue and the original, but the prices were not completely dissimilar. So I immediately message him, tell him I want the original, I want the deluxe, can I meet him today? Can I send him money? I'm also at the same time texting a friend of mine who knows these amps really well and texting him, and he says, buy it, jump on it, go get it now, do whatever you need to do to get that amp. So for someone like me who's a gigging musician, vintage amps have always been really cool, but maybe not the most appealing because of price and reliability and things like that. But I've really been looking for something that could be a forever amp for me, something that would be a studio amp that I wouldn't take out. I love my Sir Badger. There are other amps and things like the Kemper that I use all of the time that I really like and prefer in a gigging situation, but it is really cool to have something like that around the home studio. So I drive up, there's crazy weather going on. We had really, really heavy rain. Probably wasn't the safest for me to be out and driving in, but I get the amp, I meet the guy. His dad was a player. He and his uncle had bought these amps at the same time in the mid-60s, bought guitars, the whole thing. He was keeping the original guitar that his dad bought, which was a really early Coronet that was a super cool little Epiphone that they only made for a few years. And he decided that the amp was better going to somebody who would actually play it. He himself was a bass player, his wife was a piano player, so it would just sit around collecting dust. So I sit down, I'm playing through the amp, I can barely contain my excitement the whole time, and even when I had told my wife about it before I drove up, I was shaking. I was so excited and nervous at the thought of potentially getting what could be a holy grail amp for me. So I'm playing this amp with a little Squire Strat that the guy had there. It's pouring rain outside, so I didn't want to get one of my guitars out of the car or anything like that. And it sounded fantastic. Now, there are a couple of small issues with the amp. The vibrato currently does not work, which is a fairly simple fix on these amps. The reverb works, but is a little bit noisy, so I think it's actually just in need of a new tube. And it has had the original tubes replaced, which is no shocker. It has some decent Tesla, JJs, that kind of stuff in it, and it has a 3-prong power cable. If you're not familiar with these amps, they came with a 2-prong power cable, and people were liable to get electrocuted using them because if the amp did not go to ground, it would ground on you, therefore shocking you. So, all of that said, this is a super cool amp and maybe the cleanest deluxe reverb that I've seen in person. So, I want to show it to you now. Alright, so I want to let you hear what this amp sounds like. I'm running my Sur Classic Antique. If you haven't seen the demo I did of this guitar, it's linked here. And I'm going to be running that through my pedal board with no effects on at the moment, going into the Deluxe. And I'm going into the normal channel. In the first input, the volume is set at 4 on the knob itself, not at 4 o'clock. And the bass and treble knobs are both set at 5. So I'm going to run through some different pickup selections. I'll start on my neck pickup and I'll kind of go through to my bridge pickup and just kind of jump around just to pull out some different sounds. Now I will very likely do a comprehensive demo of this amp when I get it back from the tech. Again, currently vibrato channel isn't working. Reverb's a little noisy, but I'll still let you hear what it sounds like because it does sound really, really great. So without further ado, here's what it sounds like clean. Again, volume on 4 o'clock, so it's pushed a little bit here. Alright, so I want to let you hear what the reverb sounds like playing through my Gibson ES339. I'll switch through some pickup selections, and I'll also kick on my El Capiston for a little bit of tape delay so you can kind of hear the fidelity that this amp has. The reverb also sounds great. It's a little noisy because I think it needs a new tube pushing it, but without further ado, here's what it sounds like. Turn the reverb up to about 4, and here's what that sounds like. So I'm gonna let you hear what this reverb sounds like. I just turned it up to about 6 on the reverb knob, which is pretty drenched, especially if you push it or you hit the amp pretty hard on the front end. Again, I'm not using any pedals. I'm just kind of using my volume pedal for a little bit of control. But I'm gonna start on my neck pickup and I'm gonna let you hear what this sounds like with the reverb set this high. I'm going to add a little bit of tape delay from the Strymon El Capiston. So guys, that is it for this video. I really count myself fortunate to have found this amp and gotten my hands on it. I know this is a holy grail amp for a lot of people, so it's definitely not lost on me that I'm very fortunate to have it. If you want to hear more from this amp, let me know in the comments below. Like I said, there may be 1 or 2 follow-up videos coming from this so I can really put it through its paces. If there's anything specific you want to see, like how it sounds with a lot more gain thrown at it, or how it sounds using a lot more effects, doing ambient stuff and that kind of thing, be sure to let me know down in the comments below, and if you post them within the first couple of weeks of this video coming out, it's very likely that I'd be able to accommodate that request. So I'm about to go take this amp to the tech. That's all for this video. Like, comment, subscribe, do all of that stuff. It really does help me out and helps others find my channel and this video. So that's all for this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.